Hey everyone, it's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. No, I am not about to go out to a garage sale or an estate sale. I was feeling a little bit under the weather last night and just needed to get some rest. Didn't have time to make a video. However, I'm just improvising. So before I go out to my other job, my full-time job, I figured I would take a few minutes to give you an update on whether or not I purchased the 33,000 comic books. Someone actually just wrote me on my Instagram account, that's at Primetime Treasure, after seeing the video on the 33,000 comics that it looked like a tempting deal. The link to the original video where I show you the 33,000 comics from the person who had them, that'll be down below in the description section if you did not see that video before. I want to thank all the people that wrote in, like Paul Bear, on whether or not this was something that I should, really try to go after or not. I had different opinions on both sides of the aisle, and it's good in a situation like this, which I described would really be a life-changing purchase because it's just so much volume to take on, to really give it some thought and not make an impulsive decision. So that's advice number one, is really just take a little bit of time with a decision of that magnitude. So came home and just let it kind of simmer for a few days, kind of going back and forth with opinions that I was hearing from people on YouTube and Instagram, and my wife, Mrs. Primetime. We were talking about it, and ultimately what I decided is that I am not going to purchase the books. Now, I want to tell you the reasons why I made this decision. There's several reasons for it. Number one is the space issue. 33,000 comics is it's a lot. It's basically, as I mentioned in that video, it's 129 long boxes. Those are very heavy. Even stacking them 5 high, which is pretty high. You really don't want to go that high with those boxes because it could damage the boxes underneath. You're talking like 26 spaces of 5 boxes high. Now, could I technically have fitted into my house? Probably. However, it would require a significant disruption of just the way my house normally operates. So I could put it in one section of the basement, but that's where the kids play, and I'd literally be taking over their entire play area. So I don't want to do that. Two, I could put all of it in the garage, but I'd have to park my car outside in the winter, and the winters here in Syracuse, New York could be pretty brutal, and so I don't want to do that and have to deal with that all winter with my car stuck in the feet of snow throughout most of the winter. So that option was pretty much out, and that left the idea of a storage unit. But when you consider that, one, I don't have employees, because the flipping part of my life is really a part-time job that I put close to full-time hours in, though, but I don't have employees yet, and the time it's going to take me to process 5,000 books, by the time I paid all the storage fees for that, I'm not going to probably make a significant profit when you factor in how long it's going to take me to get rid of it. I don't like buying collections like that and selling like boxes of it off like one person had suggested. It's not a bad idea. It's just not how I like to do it. I like to go through these big collections that I purchase and piecemeal them out, and that's how I really maximize my profit on them. The key, though, is not to have to pay storage fees. So I normally will buy collections, 2,000, 4,000 comic books at a time, and I'm able to do what I just described in terms of piecing them out and making my money back fairly quickly. But this would just take way too long to get my money back using that type of approach. So that's one main reason why I didn't get it. Another reason is the cost. If you work out the cost of how much he wanted for the books, works out to about 20 cents per comic, and I'm not going to pay that high. Like, that's the absolute maximum that you would pay, but that would be for a shorter collection. I mean, a smaller collection. You really want to pay between 10 and 20 cents per book, but the key to that range is that the more books you're buying, the better the discount is for you. And I've spent plenty of money on collections that I said were 2,000, 4,000 comic books in terms of the, you know, the amount that were there, and I'm wind up paying like between 10 and 15 cents, sometimes even a little bit less, depending on the situation. So it doesn't make any sense to me to buy an exponentially greater amount of comic books and be paying double the amount of money for it. Especially, and this gets to my third point, is the issue of leverage. In this situation, I should be the person with the leverage. Remember, this person wants to get rid of the books, doesn't know anything about comic books, wants to clear this space out of where it's located so he could start bringing other things in to sell. So he should be, by all accounts, a motivated seller. However, his behaviors sometimes are in contrast to where you psychologically think that he should be. So for example, other people like myself at one time asked him to send photos of the collection, and he refused to do it. So he was not going to do anything to, like, he wouldn't even send people like general lists of what kind of comic books were there. Now, of course, it's unrealistic for him to put a list of 33,000 comic books together, but it would not be hard, if you remember that video, to say something like, well, I have a box of Harley Quinn, a box of Doctor Who, 3 boxes of X-Men, blah, blah, blah. He was not even willing to do that. So in many ways, he's very inflexible. And he was not flexible at all, really, with the price. The most he was willing to go down was to $6,500, but that's still paying too much. I'd really, really want to be at like 4,000, maybe 5,000 if he was about to deliver it. So you know, which was a good thing he was going to throw in, which was delivery. That would help. That would save like several $100s, but still doesn't justify the $6,500 price that he was asking. Another thing that was an issue that I don't think I mentioned it during the original video, but as I was reflecting on it, he picked out all of the SpiderMan and the Deadpool comics and has them in a separate area, and he's not selling those right now. So that's another reason I don't want to pay 20 cents per book, is that the collection has been partly picked through by him, in which he's taken out some of the more expensive and more desirable books that would immediately allow me to get my money back from the collection. And that's what I do a lot when I get these collections, is I'll look for the most popular titles, and one of them is definitely Spider-Man. I'll put some Spider-Man lots together and I'll make my money back really fast. So with him pulling all those books out, that makes the situation all the more challenging and all the more difficult. So for all those reasons together, in addition to one other, which my wife pointed out, which was, you know, if you buy this collection and let's say you do put it in the basement or you put it in the garage and you tie up all this space, she said that's really going to limit you to when another collection comes along that you want to purchase that's really good, like another collection of 2,000 comic books or a great deal at an estate sale or something like that. So that's a really, really good point. So all those different things together made me decide not to do it. One other thing just to consider is that, you know, I'm all about, you know, with business, that you do have to take some risks sometimes. You do have to take some gambles to move yourself forwards. But as I reflect back over this year, I have significantly improved all aspects of my business, and the amount of inventory that I've been able to get and the quality inventory and the sales, they've all increased, and I've done very well with that. So it's not like I feel like I'm kind of stalling this year and I'm kind of like, you know, stuck, that I have to do something to kind of make a big move. I think this year I did make a lot of big moves, and so, you know, it was good to go out, see that collection, because maybe sometime in the future I'll have a different kind of setup, a different situation where I could buy a collection of that size. You know, just thinking of that too, is that when I've purchased things from other collectors and I've been able to get myself a great deal when they're truly motivated, you know, I keep thinking back to what happens a lot of times when I make those deals, is that they often say to me, you know, please, I really just want to get rid of this stuff. Just give me a price that you think is reasonable, and I'm not going to haggle too much. And I'll, you know, pretty much they're giving it away. And those are the kind of situations I want to be in, where someone just really needs to just get rid of the inventory. They don't care. They really just want some cash and they want to be done with it. That's another thing, by the way. This guy wanted to be paid in all cash, and originally didn't even want to give me a receipt because he did not want any paper trail of this. So that started to seem just way too shady. I told him I'm completely inflexible on the receipt part. I need a receipt for tax purposes. So he was willing to do one that I kind of wrote up myself. He didn't want one coming out of like, you know, his formal paperwork or anything like that. So he was willing to be flexible in that regards, but not with the cash. And so, you know, that's another thing that's a real, you know, I don't like that. I'm not going to carry around $5,000, $6,000 worth of cash, or even $4,000 in cash to hand off to somebody. So the way I ended it is I just sent him a text, because I told him I'd text him back by yesterday. So I texted him yesterday, and I decided to keep the money part out of it, and I just stayed with the space issue. And I said, listen, thanks a lot for letting me come by and look at the collection. I really appreciate it. But, you know, try as I may, I really cannot find the adequate amount of space for this collection. Now, you may say to yourself, well, didn't you know there were 120 boxes before you went out there? Well, that's what he told me. Turned out there were 129. But I have a lot of times where somebody tells me how many comic books they have and turns out to be significantly less or significantly more, especially if they're not someone who knows much about comics. So I had to put eyes on it for myself to really see it. And especially for a purchase of that size, you want to look at that, you know, firsthand. So, you know, I told him, I said, you know, listen, if you ever decide that you want to piece it out, which is one of the things I originally suggested to him, but he's completely inflexible on, it's all or none. I said, you know, let me know. I'll buy 10 boxes at a time. I'll buy, you know, 15 boxes at a time, and we could deal that way. But he doesn't want to do that. So, you know, what can I tell you? I guess he's stuck with 33,000 comic books that he can't move because he doesn't know anything about comics. I'm trying to help out as best as I can, but you know, there's just limits into what I can do. So maybe he'll be able to find somebody who will purchase all of them, and that'll be great for that person if they could get it for a good price and they have a good you know, storage facility solution. So with that being said, those are the reasons that I did not purchase the collection. I'm curious to know what your reaction is to my decision down below. If you care to leave a comment, or if you had a question, make sure that you like this video. If you enjoyed you know, seeing how I kind of went through this process and reasoned through something like this, is obviously a big decision to try to make. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're just 29 people away from 1,000 subscribers, so trying to get there by the end of the month. So if you're not subscribed yet and you like these videos, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. That's at PrimetimeTreasure, no S. And also make sure you come join my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that is down below, and I'll see you all back at the next video. Take care, everybody.